Welcome to the Cigar Rebel community, where indulgence meets authenticity. This is more than a podcast. It's a gathering place for those who savor life's luxuries with unapologetic passion. Here we celebrate the fine art of living through rich flavors, bold spirits, exquisite cigars, and unforgettable experiences.
Let's try. Can you guys hear us now? All right, so I don't know if you guys can hear us or not.
Okay, I think we figured out the problem here. apologize, guys. I think so. If we can get some, let us know the audio is back up and running. We should be in good shape at this point. I don't really know what happened.
Okay, awesome. So we are getting comments in that you guys can all hear us. So thank you guys, and thank you for letting us know, and thank you for bearing with us during the technical difficulties. So to start fresh, we are going to go from the top, and then we will just start from there. So tonight we are talking about how cigars get rated and how top 25 lists happen and why some are absolute bangers and some still fly under the radar.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my favorite part is a little bit later, we're going to do a full Cigar Rebel top 20 list and give you our top 20 underrated cigars.
Yes. So strap in. If you are a list person, you are going to love this episode. But also, if you hate lists, don't worry. It's still going to be a podcast about life's luxuries and mainly cigars.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's going to be plenty of content for you guys tonight. We're just so thankful you guys are here. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Yes. So once again, welcome Cigar Rebels to the podcast. I'm Mel.
And I'm Kevin. And we're coming to you live tonight for the Unsung Holiday Heroes, a podcast about underrated cigars. And we're excited to jump into those underrated cigars for the past year or so.
Yes, I agree. And so if you missed it, we are smoking tonight the San Lotano Maduro by AJ Fernandez, and it has a San Andreas Maduro wrapper, a Honduran binder, and then Honduran and Nicaraguan fillers. So we have ours pre-cut, and we were talking a little bit about some tasting notes, and we've started publishing the list of what we are smoking with our podcast. So if anyone is smoking this along with us tonight, let us know what flavor notes you're getting, how you're enjoying the cigar, and all those awesome things.
Yeah. So what cold draw are you getting on the cold draw, Mel?
So for me, it was very smooth. It was very creamy, a little bit of cocoa in there, maybe a little bit of cedar or something the opposite of the cocoa and the smoothness.
Yeah, so I get a very heavy earthiness on the cold draw, and then as well, I'm picking up a little bit of that black pepper. There's something else there that I can't really pick up the flavor on or really nail down at the moment, but that black pepper's there on the back of my mouth, my throat, and then that very earthiness. San Lotano's by AJ Fernandez. This is the Requiem Maduro. I love this cigar. So I'm excited to be lighting it up here in just a moment and digging in. As Mel said, we would love to know what you guys are smoking tonight. Please drop that in the comment and what you're pairing it with. We would absolutely love that. But we're going to light this cigar, which was brought to you by Big Sky Cigars.
Back in 1905, under Montana skies, 107 factories rolled smoke full of eyes. Reminders of ranchers' life, one and grin. Now Big Sky Cigar is bringing that spirit back in.
Yellowstone River to the bold bighorn flow. Madisonville reflects what we know. And leave from Nicaragua, San Andres to the Ecuador rolled up.
And every box soul helps our veterans men. With warriors and quiet waters, we lend a friend's hand. It's heritage burning in every draw. Big Sky Cigars, Montana's pride and law. Big Sky Cigar, where heritage flows with every draw. Find your rare at Big Sky Cigar to pop.
Ask your local tobacconist about Big Sky Cigars today. If they do not carry them, shops can reach out to Brad Frazier to set up new accounts.
As always, thank you to Big Sky. So tonight is going to be really fun because we are stepping into the world of cigar journals, cigar magazines, and rating processes. And also why those lists matter and why they also don't.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like movie reviews. Some people really treat it like the gospel, and others read one score and go, well, that's obviously wrong, and move on with their life.
Yes. And cigar ratings are also, they can be a big deal because they influence what shops are going to stock. They influence what people are going to chase, what gets pricey, what is going to get re-released, and then what gets hyped. So the ratings are going to affect all of those things.
Absolutely. And for newer smokers especially, ratings can be kind of a shortcut. Like, I don't know what I really like yet, so tell me what I should be buying.
Right. Exactly. So the ratings, here's the thing, they're not magic. They are really a structured opinion. And usually it is a controlled tasting experience. So there's usually a panel, there's multiple smokes of that cigar, and there's still a lot of subjectivity to that.
Yeah, absolutely. You can be the best professional taster alive and still prefer coffee forward profiles or lean towards spice or love a certain wrapper type or a region. Humans are humans.
Yes. And so tonight we are going to do 4 things. The first one is we are going to give a quick how the sausage is made on cigar ratings. So you're going to understand what you're reading.
Yeah, it's kind of like Burr said. Many of you have always wanted to be in the room where it happens.
Yeah. And let's finish the list, because don't get me started on going off on Hamilton, because we could talk about that forever. So number 2 is we're going to talk about the top 5 cigars of the 2024 from 2 of the most influential lists out there, which is going to be Cigar Journal and Cigar Aficionado. Number 3 is we are going to get into why some cigars go unnoticed or become underrated in the cigar world. And then finally, we are going to do the underrated draft, which is going to be our Cigar Rebel top list of 25.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually a top 20.
The top 20, yes, sorry.
And so this is not a you must agree with us type of episode. This is a pull up a chair and kind of argue with this episode. We would love to know your thoughts on what the top 20 underrated cigars are. And so we want this to be more of a back and forth than a we're absolutely right.
Yes, and preferably and hopefully you are watching this episode with not only a cigar and maybe your favorite drink of choice, but also some snacks, preferably the holiday.
I like snacks.
Holiday bar. I love snacks. I could snack all the time. So let's go ahead. We're going to jump into the rating process first. We're going to talk about how the scores happen, why they don't match, and also why they don't match your buddy's opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. So generally speaking, ratings and really awards list kind of work like this. Cigars are reviewed throughout the year, and then as they come back to the end of the year, they've received scores all throughout. And then at the end of the year, depending on the publication, they'll reevaluate the field and build a top list.
Yes, and there are some common pillars that show up across the publications. So there's going to be construction, which we've talked about before. That's going to be the draw, the burn, and the ash integrity. There's going to be flavor balance, which is going to be complexity, transitions, and then, of course, the harmony in that. There's going to be some body and strength, which are not the same thing. A lot of cigar smokers get confused between body and strength. Strength is going to be, of course, the nicotine feel, and then body is going to be the weight of the smoke and the overall flavor. And then there's going to be the overall impression, which is basically, would you smoke it again? And how does it hold up in your palate?
Yeah, absolutely. And the big point here, some publications really emphasize blind tasting heavily during the final process. So brand expectation doesn't really shape the score, because all of those things Mel just talked about are all important, but sometimes the band really impacts your preference or your thoughts. And so some really focus on the blind tasting while others do not.
Yeah, and this matters because honestly, let's talk about if you hand someone a cigar with a legendary name brand, your brain is going to start writing that fan fiction.
Absolutely. I'm tasting historic notes.
Yes.
Instead of tasting what the cigar tastes like. It's more historical. It's more these thoughts of grandeur or even a hint of nostalgia.
Yes. And if you hand someone a cigar that maybe they have never heard of, they are going to think subconsciously, okay, prove that this cigar is worth my time.
Yeah, absolutely. See, journals can have slightly different styles. Some lean into describing a cigar much more like a fine wine with tasting notes and flavor notes, while others are more consumer facing. And they're really focused on here's what it tastes like, here's how it performed, and here's why it matters. And so you really have those that are really talking more of the palates and the finish and these really more refined notes. And then you have others that say it tasted like grandma's prune juice with a little tomato salad on the side.
Yeah.
It all depends.
It does. And even when it's blind, it's still not all about necessarily conditions. The humidor, the environment, the lighting method, the palette, that week, even all of that can affect how that is being rated and how you are rating that cigar.
Absolutely. It's why I always tell people that use scores much more like a compass and not a court order. It is a suggestion, not a must.
Yes. And also, your personal list is allowed to be chaotic. You can have a 92 rated cigar that you love, and you can have a 97 rated cigar I respect, but I don't necessarily crave.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of this hobby. It's the beauty of this passion, is it's really about enjoying life's luxuries that you enjoy, not what the critics think.
Yes. So 100%, I agree with you. These lists are, I think, a wonderful source of reading material or things to try, but they should not shape your entire humidor stock or how you feel about cigars.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's be honest. I love reading both Cigar Journal and Cigar Aficionado. I read them throughout the year. And the top 25 lists that both of these companies do really are a lot of fun to read.
Yeah, I agree. I love reading them. I also love seeing sometimes in those magazines, they'll have great destinations that are very cigar friendly, like where to go if you want to have a cigar vacation, which we've talked about. And I love seeing all of those things.
Yeah. So one thing I'd love to hear from those that are live with us tonight, there's a handful of you guys out there watching live. And what are maybe one of the cigar magazines that you enjoy reading? I pick up Cigar Journal, Cigar Aficionado, Cigar and Spirit's another one. My favorite time to read them is on an airplane. I love reading on an airplane or on a cruise.
Yeah, when there's free time, I love to intermix. Usually I'll do some like fashion magazines in there or some cooking magazines, but I too also enjoy reading the articles. And I like reading if they have someone on the cover. And they're doing kind of a little bit of information on them. I like reading what they think about it. If they talk about their cigar journey, it's interesting. It's interesting to see. So,
yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things I would love for us to do tonight is really compare Cigar Aficionado and Cigar Journal. So we kind of built that up. And so that's kind of what we're going to do. We're going to talk about Cigar Journal versus Cigar Aficionado and a little bit about why they're different. So let's jump into the first one.
Yeah, so we are going to start with Cigar Journal and their top 5 new cigars based off of 2024. And so before anyone yells at their phone, type top 5 lists are snapshots. They're not commandments.
Absolutely. And half the fun is disagreeing politely while holding a cigar in front of a microphone.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about their top 5. Their number 5, excuse me, is the Rocky Patel Dark Star Robusto. Great cigar.
Great cigar.
Number 4 is the Davidoff Maduro Toro. Number 3 is the Dias de Gloria by AJ Fernandez Brazil Figurado. Number 2 is the Perdomo 30th Anniversary Connecticut Torpedo. And number 1 is the Plasencia Cosecha 151 La Tradicion in a Toro size.
So here's the greatest part about this list. Those are some tough names to say. I mean, I think it might be a list of tough names.
Yeah.
Right? But
sets it apart.
It's a really strong spread. You've got everything from spice to espresso to really that creamy Connecticut on this list that really still has some personality. But when we're looking at those cigars, Rocky Patel Dark Star, Davidoff Maduro, Diaz de Gloria by AJ Fernandez, Perdomo 30th Anniversary, Plasencia Coseca. I mean, those are fantastic cigars.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great list. And I think that's really a journal aspect of it, is sometimes their list is going to read like the wide tour of the year, you know, different countries, different styles, and different strengths.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the presence of a Connecticut in the top 5 of this new list from Cigar Journal, it really tells you something. When a Connecticut is done right, it's not boring, it's exceptional.
Yes, I agree. When a Connecticut is done really well, it's refined, it's subtle, but it's still very satisfying. If a Connecticut is good, I love a good Connecticut. And I love Leslie's comment about asking for snow and sending some that way. Please send all of the snow to her if she is the one that wants it. I'm good with no snow. We got really, really cold here these last couple of days. I say really cold, like 20 degrees is our low, which is cold for me these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Richard said, I wish lived closer. They had a cigar dinner Friday night, which was awesome. Lots of good comments flowing out there now. And Richard would say, come here and you can deal with this crap as all you want. And then Richard said, Dave's absolutely the best in the business. Hands down, I do not disagree.
Yeah.
What really jumps out to me in this list as we get back to that is these aren't just hype brands. They're brands with real consistency. They consistently produce great cigars. And a couple of them are absolute, if you know lines. This list here, and this is where we're going to talk a little differently, is not who advertised well, who spent the most money.
Yep.
There's some big brands out there: Rocky Patel, Davidoff, AJ Fernandez, Perdomo, Plasencia. I mean, these are brands that we've all known and loved, and even the newest cigar smokers are going to know at least one of them, and many non-cigar smokers know some of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So now that we have looked at the Cigar Journal, let's go ahead and take a look at Cigar Aficionado's top cigars of 2024. So it's important to kind of notice some distinction in that Cigar Journal's list was a top 5 new cigars of 2024, and Cigar Aficionado is just top 5 of 2024.
Yeah, which is a really big difference,
yeah.
Right? I mean, it's a pretty big difference in new versus the other. So now Cigar Aficionado's top 5 of 2024, and some of you guys know they've just released their top 25 of 2025. We intentionally went back to 2024 as we were preparing for the podcast because we weren't sure exactly when all of that was going to drop. So we're looking back a year, and we apologize. You can go out to their website, you can grab the magazine and see this year's, but we felt like last year's was a great comparison. So number 1 was the My Father the Judge Grand Robusto. Cigar Aficionado's number 2 is the Monte Cristo 1935 Anniversary Nicaragua Espresso. I can't talk tonight again. Number 3 was EP Carrillo's Encore Celestial. Number 4 was the Padron Series 1926, number 6. And finally, number 5 was the Partagas Linea Maestra Maestro. And this was a Cuban cigar, which does make another big distinction that Cigar Aficionado includes a lot of Cubans in their top 25 list that many of us will never be able to get our hands on.
Yeah, and in that list, it definitely has some heavy hitter energy. Like if cigar brands were a UFC fight card, that would definitely be a pay-per-view lineup. And you know, people would pay for that all day long if they could buy a card and smoke all 5 of those cigars.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. And I notice a big difference in vibe between the two lists. It reads more like a best of the best, iconic names, huge reputations, in the kind of cigars that people chase because they can't get a hold of them.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It highlights why two top 5 lists can both be legit and also still just feel very different.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's good sometimes to have your own list.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's why some cigars go completely unnoticed, right? Because not every incredible cigar has a name that shakes the room.
Yeah, or a budget that puts it on every shop's face or every person's radar as well.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. I mean, it really is some of the best cigars out there are unfortunately still sometimes regional. They're working on growing responsibly versus a shotgun approach.
Yeah.
And a little bit of that conversation, and we're not going to dig too far into it, but it's definitely responsible, slow growth versus a shotgun.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked a little bit about that a few weeks ago in our sit down with Jonathan Carney of Bentley Tobacco USA, actually. There are a few different approaches when you are growing a cigar brand, and each have their pros and each have their cons.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the cons for newer brands or those growing slow and steady is unless they're attached to a major brand, it's hard to get noticed by the 2 big magazines we just discussed. It's very difficult to get on the radar of Cigar Journal or Cigar Aficionado.
That is absolutely 100% true, I think, for sure. So we are going to get ready to go to a break. I didn't know if there are any comments out there we wanted to talk about beforehand. And if not, then we will go to our break before we continue our topic. So
I'm not sure. Richard said, love the chairs you guys have. Where did you get them? Yeah, absolutely. So this is we have this in our Churchill Lounge here at Story Cigars and Lounge. We have a couple more placed throughout the lounge. And then actually in my office where I work, I have these chairs that I sit in quite a bit. And Richard, which I'm almost ashamed to say on air where we got them. It was, actually, I'm trying to come up with the name of it.
we looked at so many places.
Hold on. I will come up with Richard after the break. Yeah. I will give you where the chairs came from. I was actually going to share, and then I totally went blank.
Yeah, I was just thinking about how awesome they pair with these cigars. So I wasn't remembering where we got them from.
Yeah, absolutely. So I apologize for that. It's a little bit of the technical difficulties at the beginning, a little bit of breakup, but we are going to go to a break. When we get back, we're going to jump into the underrated mystery, and we'll be back right after this break.
We fell in love with cigars not because of the flavors or smoking experience or perceived status, but because it allows barriers to fall between other humans and build deeper connections. For that reason, we've been super intentional to curate a space where people can find community and enjoyment with others, and cigars just happen to be the way we're doing it. For that reason, we are thrilled to be the one and only cigar retail store and lounge in downtown Lufkin. A good story is one of the most powerful tools used to connect with another human. Sharing stories fades out differences and highlights similarities found in the details, or with the storyteller. Over the years, we have seen some of the best stories told over cigars, and thus, new friendships are made, passions shared, encouragement given, and so much more. The impact storytelling has on the human connection is why we've decided to name our store and lounge Stories. Because behind every good cigar and conversation is an even better story.
As always, thank you to our sponsors. We are going to go ahead and take a look at upcoming shows. And also, friendly reminder, our upcoming shows also now list the current cigars we will be smoking with that episode.
Yeah. So next week we have our Christmas episode, Merry Christmas Rebels, and we're going to be smoking the limited edition Cigar Rebel 2025 Custom Blend Connecticut. This is the second custom blend that we've released. Our first one was earlier this year. Over the summer, we released 4 different petites. There was a 4x40 in 4 different wrappers. This is a full-bodied Connecticut. Smoked it with some guys last night, and they absolutely loved it and the spiciness of it. This is definitely a full-body Connecticut, and we'll talk a lot more about it next week.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. December 29th, we're doing the Fireside Philosophy, which is deep thoughts over cigars. And with that one, we are pairing it with the Fuente 858.
Then on January 5th, we're going to have lounge etiquette in 2026, unwritten rules everyone should know, and we're going to be smoking the blackened M81.
Yep, January 12th is going to be cigar dinners, and on that one, we will be smoking our Stories 2-year anniversary cigar. So great lineup there, I feel like.
Absolutely. Lots of great cigars coming up and shows. We're really excited. If you haven't, or this is the first time you're watching tonight, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. You can also go to our channel and click the notify me and be kept up to date on all the shows that are coming and notified when we're going live and seeing the different clips we post from shows or the interviews throughout the week. And in 2026, we're going to have a lot more of those coming throughout the week that we kind of call petite cast or reels that'll come out and share a little bit of information with you. As always, you can also follow us on Facebook or Instagram, and you can follow us along at Cigar Rebels, or you can always join the Facebook Cigar Rebel community where you can share pictures of what you're smoking, what you're pairing with it, and all of those kind of fun things. One of the last things I want to mention is in the comments, Richard asked about the chairs. And I couldn't remember. It was Chair Warehouse was where we found these. I do know they also have them occasionally on Wayfair when they're doing closeouts. They're great chairs. And the great thing is they're not super expensive. So absolutely love these chairs.
Yes.
Langston said they're so comfortable. They are amazing. We've now, I think, own about 8 or 9 of them, and they're absolutely spectacular.
Yep. Huge one. Leslie asked, do we have an online store where we can order from?
So for the Cigar Rebel cigars, yes. We do not sell the elevated humidor cigars online at the moment. However, if you want to pick up our cigars, the place that has the largest selection online right now is twoguyscigars.com. Richard mentioned them a little bit earlier, that he had ordered the Aganorsa Leaf Flex Pack, which was a great opportunity. While you're ordering those, you can also go ahead and grab singles or boxes of the Elevated Humidor. The Cigar Rebel cigars, if you go to the elevatedhumidor.com, there's a Cigar Rebel link. It takes you to that portion of our website. And in there, when we do release custom blends, there is an order availability to get those out to everybody. Those are going to go on sale in January. And pre-orders will start pretty soon for those. Yes. We had actually sold out of the 2025 other than a small order here at Stories that we have a few in the humidor. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, super excited about that. I also will say for this next round of our custom blend that is coming up, we've had a lot of people asking us about them and when they can pre-order them. I do think these ones will go even quicker than our first round. So if you are interested in them, go ahead and make sure you do those pre-orders when we do them, grab them when we release them, because I don't think we'll have them for very long.
Yep. And when we do the custom blends, we actually do custom blends in very short runs. So we did 1,000 of the first one. Because of the tobacco we used in this run, we actually only did 50 boxes, which is 500 cigars. So we have a limited amount. I'll tell you, and it's just scrolling on the bottom here in a second. It should go live any second. I was kind of hoping to see. There we go. So the easiest place to get the Cigar Rebel cigars is it is going to come in the Stories cigar pack at the anniversary party. We're doing a Stories anniversary party. This is our second one coming up here in January. You get 19 cigars, dinner, Q&A time with Al McAuliffe from McAuliffe Cigars. Mel and I will be there. We'll be doing a little bit of Cigar Rebel podcasting, photo things going on during that. And so that will be a fun time for those who are able to join us.
Yes.
So getting back to why some cigars go unnoticed, and the topic tonight, Unsung Heroes, aka the underrated mystery.
Yes. So this is going to be probably my favorite part of the evening, because this is where the real cigar enthusiast conversations can start to happen.
Absolutely. It's why do some cigars, some great, maybe fantastic cigars, go unnoticed?
Yes. And I have a list, but I'm going to make sure that it is going to be bite-sized and not ginormous.
Yeah, absolutely. And Richard's asked if we had tried the DBL line. He loves the Amarillo. We have tried several of their cigars. They do have great. Matter of fact, we smoked one on the podcast recently.
We did.
And they might get noticed here later tonight, I think. I can't remember if they're on this list or if they're on our list a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So, Mel, give us your quick hit list of why a cigar gets listed or underrated.
Yes. So we have overshadowed by the brand's own superstar. So a company has a legend cigar and everything else just lives in its shadow.
Absolutely.
So there's also going to be bad timing. You released during a crowded season, or there's a major trade show, or when everyone is chasing something else maybe that is coming out. There's going to be limited distribution, so you can't love what you can't find. And we see it all the time. People want to start with one because they want to make sure if they want to buy a box or if they want to buy multiples, and then by the time they smoke that one and they decide they love it, it's gone. There's also confusing branding. So they're going to have weird names. There's going to be too many sublines, or the packaging just doesn't scream premium, pick this up. And then there is price psychology, which some folks are going to ignore as a good value cigar because they assume that the cheaper is going to mean less of a cigar.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, we had a scenario a couple of years ago, going back to your list, and it's really that price psychology.
Mm-hmm.
So filler number 9 was the first cigar we ever blended as a part of the elevated humidor. I truly believe it's still a fantastic cigar. A lot of people love it. It is a cigar that we released and was out there. It is a true Indonesian Sumatra wrapper that is grown in Indonesia with some Dominican binders and fillers. Smokes really, really well. And we had a cigar shop call us and say they're just not moving. We're not really sure why. And so we got into a conversation. And after talking to a couple of different shops, somebody actually came back to us and said, we think it's the price. Your price point is too low. And a lot of cigars that are Sumatra cigars that are priced low just aren't that great. We've had several in the humidor. They weren't selling. So that cigar shop said, can we increase the price by $3? We said, you've bought the cigars. You can do that if that's what you'd like. This is our recommended price. They did increase the cigar price and sold out in just a few weeks. And it sold very well for them for several months afterwards.
Yep.
So that price psychology can definitely impact cigars. I think some people end up not picking up some of the McAuliffe Color series because they're a lower price cigar. And people are just like, oh, I don't smoke $8 cigars.
Yeah.
And hence, suddenly you have an underrated cigar.
Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting how the price overall plays a factor in the cigar. And so one final reason on my hit list is that the cigar is not loud. So some cigars are going to be very subtle, very elegant, and they don't slap you in the face. So they get overlooked in the world that loves those bold first impressions. So I think something that comes to mind is when we released the Lady Jade. The band on that is, I would say, a little bit more elegant. It's more subtle. You've got to pick it up and look at it. And once people pick it up and look at it, they are like, this is such a unique band. We've never seen this before, and they love it. But upon that first release, not knowing or not being prepared for something like that, it takes a pickup and a look.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'll add a couple as well. They don't fit the current trend. Maybe the market is going broadleaf, crazy, and this cigar is a beautiful Corojo. Another one is they're not content friendly, meaning some cigars just simply don't photograph well. They don't have splashy backstories. They don't have buzz, not because they're not great, but because they're not built for the algorithm.
Yes. And, the algorithm doesn't smoke, but it definitely will pick winners. And so we currently, I feel like, live in a culture that is very content driven, and some cigars just don't have the content to get noticed.
Absolutely. However, there's a following and growing in certain cigar communities for these cigars, and they start to get bigger and grow larger. And that really is kind of the cool part. Underrated cigars often become community cigars, right?
Yeah.
Like someone finds it and they share it with a friend, and a lounge starts keeping it stocked, and then it kind of becomes a quiet legend within that group.
Yeah.
And so we see that all the time.
Exactly. I think underrated cigars are how sometimes cigar friendships can actually happen. Someone is going to hand you something and go, trust me, this is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been so many cigars that we've come to love because someone really shared it with us. They handed it to us and we smoked it, and it becomes a part of my regular rotation maybe for a while. And there's several that are still in our regular rotation because someone handed them to us. But let's jump to a comment I want to hit on. Is Richard said, Rebels, will you ever come to New Hampshire and sit on the show with Dave? I'd certainly be in the audience. Richard, we would absolutely love that. It is a dream of ours to be on Cigar Authority.
Yeah.
We were in studio back in August for a few different shows. And after the Cigar Authority, I ended up spending some time with Dave, and he even recommended us to the Cigar Hacks because they were looking for somebody around rolling, and they recommended Mel. And so we were on their show a week later. And on the August 5th Ash Hills version of the Ash Holes, Mel was the guest and is currently in Honorable Ash Hills. And so she was on that podcast, but have not been on the Cigar Authority, but would love to be someday. We're also hoping at some point as our cigars continue to sell well for two guys, that we would be able to come up to New Hampshire and do an event, and maybe we'd get asked to be on the Cigar Authority. We would love that, but unfortunately that's not our choice. That's Ed and Dave's and the team there. But I can tell you one way you Rebels can help make that happen is to go out to Two Guys Cigars and buy our cigars.
Yeah.
We rarely push, hey, please buy our cigars. But in lieu of Richard's question, the way to get us on the show, to get us out there to do an event, is help the first couple of orders get sold. Dave likes to support people that are getting supported in the shops.
Absolutely.
And Dave and Ed have been great friends and partners of ours.
100%.
And we've been very blessed by all of those interactions up to this point, and believe will continue to be. And we have gotten good feedback from Dave on the podcast. We've been honored that he's listened a time or two.
Yeah.
He told us at one point he's a regular listener, but I mean, here's the thing. The man is busy.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what's happening?
Yep.
But let's get back to the topic tonight. But I thought that was a great comment
Yeah,
to
that's
hit
awesome.
up. So Richard, thanks for asking. We're honored that you did. So Mel, back to you.
So it's almost time for us to bring our inaugural list in. But before we do that, I want to check in on this cigar, because I realized we did not do that after the break. So
Yep.
it would be a great time to do that. Now that we've lit it, we're probably about halfway or a little bit more than halfway through.
Yeah, definitely into the second, third. And one of the most interesting things is that earthiness and black pepper has stayed throughout for me. It's actually picked up a little bit in strength, stronger than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I've smoked the cigar multiple times, but had kind of forgotten it. We've been out of stock of it for a little bit. And I really love the Habano version, so I tend to smoke a little bit of it. But there's earthiness, there's pepper. There's a hint of that cocoa, just the chalkiness. And I wouldn't call it anise or anise, but there's a little bit of that bitterness that could be the cocoa, but it could be the licorice.
So yeah, I was going to ask you if you got any hints of maybe a little bit of black licorice in there.
Okay.
In the cigar. That was going to be, I pick up maybe a hint of it. And I really like this cigar. I am not a huge black licorice fan in terms of the overall flavor. I know you love black licorice. I don't know if you guys out in the comments love black licorice or not, but I think it is definitely an acquired taste, kind of like cilantro. Some people love it, some people hate it.
Yep.
But I'm picking up a lot of those same elements, and I'm truly enjoying the cigar.
Yes, absolutely. This cigar has been great. The transitions from the first third to the second third, you really just had that earthiness and black pepper. I would even say a spice, but that black pepper stood out a little bit in the first third. As the transition to the second third, you pick up more complexity.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few different things out there. Like I said, there's that almost cocoa-ishy. There's almost an espresso. There's almost an anise or anise.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I really need to learn how to say that word. But AJ Fernandez makes phenomenal cigars. When we saw it on Cigar Journal earlier, one of his cigars made their 2024 best list.
Yeah.
Just the things that he produces, man, you can't go wrong with his cigars.
Yeah. No, he has great stuff. All right. So on that note, it is now time. We're going to bring you our inaugural Cigar Rebel underrated top 20 broken into 3 categories by strength. And just to let you guys all know, these are not in any particular order. And to be 100% clear, we are not announcing our #1 cigar of the year.
That is true. We are not there. Maybe someday in the future we'll create a cigar of the year for us. That is not what we're doing. We're giving you a top 20 random list because what we really want to talk about is underrated cigars. Now, I did want to comment, Leslie likes the Twizzlers and green apple. Absolutely. If it's licorice, I love it. The problem is it's pure sugar and it does not love me. So I do not jump into them. But as I said, getting back to our top 20 list,
Yep,
it's underrated. It does not mean best ever. It means deserves more attention than it gets.
yes. So hold on to your hats or your cigars. And also, if your favorite is not on here, don't yell at us. Just send us your picks and let us know what cigars you think are underrated and should be on this list.
Absolutely. So we're getting to round 1, mild to medium. Like I said, we're going to do this in strength just because we wanted to have a way to not make it a top 20 to 1 and then somebody go, well, that's your #1.
Mm-hmm.
So mild to medium.
Yep.
Folks who want flavor without too much strength. What's the first one, Mel?
So the first one is going to be the La Aurora 1903 Cameroon in a Churchill size that is going to be mild to medium.
Absolute fantastic cigar. La Aurora gets a lot of focus, but I feel like this is something that just goes way under noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Cameroon is definitely chilly weather. It's underrated in itself. Warm spices, earthy, elegant sweetness. I love a great Cameroon, and this cigar is excellent this time of year.
I was going to say, Cameroon is one of your favorite types of cigars.
It is, and we don't have one in our line. We've never blended a Cameroon cigar other than Dark Scent.
Well, put it on the list, and we'll have one, next week.
Langston said when he was a kid, he'd get jelly beans for Easter. It would only eat the black ones.
Ooh.
I agree. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. All right. So what's the next one?
So the next one is Plasencia Alma del Campo Travesia boxed press. And it's a little bit more on the medium side, but I'll tell you, fantastic cigar. It's easy to go Plasencia doesn't get, they're noticed, Kevin, but this cigar just gets overlooked by them.
Yes. So the next one, this one is going to be when I want flavor, not necessarily the fatigue cigar, and that is going to be the El Profesor by Big Sky Company. That one's also going to be a mild to medium.
Yep, absolutely. It's a well-balanced smoking experience, that El Profesor. It's rich in texture. It's creamy. It's got layered flavors, and yet it's pretty easygoing in content rich. And I say, or context, it's complex. As you smoke it, I pick up a lot of different flavors, and so great choice. The next one that I'm going to bring up is a little bit more on the medium side. It's the Monte Cristo Esperado. And so I love that cigar.
Yeah, that's a great choice. This one is going to be for when I want something classic, but not sleepy. And that's going to be the Flor de las Antillas by my father. And that's going to be probably a medium.
Absolutely. It's a comfort cigar, like a sweet cup of cocoa with hints of cedar. And so that's definitely that cigar. When I think of comfort cigar, when I think of sweet cup of cocoa, when I want something more cedar forward, that Flor de las Antillas is a great cigar. And my father hits it out of the park. It was super popular. You didn't see it around much, and it's kind of made a major comeback in the last 12 to 18 months, in my opinion. I'm seeing it in more cigar shops when we travel, and I love that.
Yeah.
So my next pick is the Velvet Series by the Elevated Humidor. Both the smooth and the spice, which are a little bit on the medium side.
Yes, and I'll say that is cheating a little bit because you're throwing in 2 cigars with 1 pick. But honestly, I can't disagree with that, as they are sister cigars. Yeah. So the Pelo de Oro, it is not commonly used in the cigar industry due to its really challenging to grow, even though it is considered a prized tobacco when it comes to the flavor.
Absolutely. So, I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. I mean, even just the smell of it is amazing. I just think back to it. So then my another pick for me is going to be the La Galera Connecticut, and that is by Blanco Cigars.
Yep. A great mild to medium cigar, and this entire line of La Galera is exceptional. And the Connecticut provides this really smooth experience. And again, I just think it's an underrated cigar. I've not seen La Galera on any list that I can think of in the last few years.
Yeah.
But recently we had them in the humidor here at Stories. One of our other owners, Chris, who you've met on the podcast, had picked them up and smoked it. And he sent me a text like, what is this cigar? And it's fantastic. And he was buying them, giving them to people, sharing them. That's making good friends, as we talked about earlier. And that La Galera has kind of become a little bit of a community cigar for us.
Yeah.
We're low on them, if not out in the humidor. We have more ordered for here at Stories, but it is an exceptional cigar.
Yes. So that is our first list. Kevin, why don't you start us on to our next category, which is going to be the medium that are going to be rich and balanced.
Absolutely. This category is where the winter fire pit smokes live. It's rich, they're balanced, and they're satisfying. And my first one is La Galera Maduro. Again, Hoki Blanco cigars. This is a medium cigar, maybe a medium plus, but it is perfect. If I were having a fire tonight, I would probably smoke the Maduro first and then follow it up with that Connecticut we just talked about.
Yeah. And you followed my lead on that one. And I think it's awesome. You know, I said Connecticut, you said Maduro. So everyone knows they are two different cigars there. And that is a great cigar. And it's interesting just how people love it. And then they move on from it.
Yeah.
And then they find it again and rave about it once more.
Kind of like Chris did.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
So what's your next cigar?
So the next one for me is the Nestor Miranda Special Edition Toro.
Absolutely. It's a great cigar. Always feels like it should be on more shelves than it is. We don't see it out there a lot. When we do see it, we buy it. We love it. As Richard mentioned, every time we're in New Hampshire, I'm smoking those. We had the pleasure to meet Nestor a couple of years ago and smoke it with him. And so it's definitely a cigar I go back to frequently when I see it. So my next is the Casa Magna Petite Corona Connecticut. And to me, this is the perfect underrated winter cigar because it's short. If you watched last week's episode about cold smoking cigars by the fire pit, this one's perfect. It's 20 to 40 minutes long, depending on how fast of a smoker you are. It's creamy. It's exceptional.
Yes, and I do believe that this one is probably on one of the sleeper cigar lists, and that's especially if you like a smaller ring gauge cigar, which I'll tell you, I've had lots of people recently talk to me about their preferences in ring gauges. Some people will smoke any cigar, doesn't matter if it's in their profile or not, based on if it's the ring gauge that they prefer. They'll try it, and most likely they'll like it. Again, that could be a mental thing. But the next on my list is going to be the Paperboy by Artista in both the Connecticut and also the Maduro.
Yeah, both of those cigars are absolutely flavor bombs. They're flavorful. They smoke consistently. And really, for a cigar coming in between $3 and $4 a stick, if you're buying them by a bundle of 8, and around $5 if you're buying the single, it's absolutely fantastic. Tons of flavor. The oiliness of the Maduro, it's hard to find another cigar with that oily textured wrapper. I mean, I can cold draw on that and not even light it.
And I remember the first time we got those, we brought those into the shop.
Yep.
And I remember they didn't move super fast at first, but then I feel like we sold out of them. We brought them in again. And the second time they flew off the shelves, kind of like you were saying, it was people loved them once they tried them.
I was talking to Carla from Artista earlier this week about getting several order of those in January to hit the winter months of next year running. And excited to have those in. So Mel, what's your next cigar in this medium process? Or actually, I skipped mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're up.
I'm next.
I threw us off guard by throwing out the paper.
I'm gonna cheat again. I did the Velvet series by the Elevated Humidor. I'm gonna go back to the Elevated Humidor and talk about the Ladybug. because that is a fantastic cigar that I truly believe doesn't get the attention it deserves.
I mean, and that one, it can be a little misleading. It recently has been scored, 2 different groups. One of them scored it at an 88 and one of them scored it at a 94. So I think that's awesome. We love getting those official scorings back.
Absolutely.
Next on my list is going to be the Alec Bradley Black Market in a Robusto.
And that's one of those cigars that's always good when you smoke it, but I never think about it.
Yeah.
I never go into a humidor going, I want to pick up an Alec Bradley. I don't. And so when I see it, I pick it up and smoke it. It's always good. It is so consistent. So my next one is one that I love, and I think a lot of people love once they actually have it, and that's the Montosa Maduro, which is another medium cigar.
Yeah. This, I feel like, is one of those cigars that you can introduce to someone who maybe likes mild to medium cigars, but is maybe a little bit afraid of the darker cigar wrapper. This cigar, and also the Connecticut version, which is going to be mellow to mild and is a creamier option, is underrated, but especially I feel like for that price.
Absolutely. These are both a sub $10 cigar that is spectacular. So based on our time, let's go ahead and move on to the strong ones. We've gone through about 14 or 15 if you count my duplicate up there. And so let's move on to the medium full.
Yes, so these ones are going to be ones that you do not want to smoke on an empty stomach so you don't get sick. First one on my list is going to be the Abuelo Nieto in the Robusto. This is distributed by United Cigars. Great cigar.
Absolutely. I love that cigar. It's made at the Fábrica de Puros factory, Aladino factory. I almost left out the Aladino, which would have been a shame. And it's under the supervision of Aroa, and it pays homage to the lineage and the legacy of his family. And it's just fantastic. And I like it in all of the Vitolas, but that Robusto is spectacular. So my next one on my list is one that I think when people smoke it, they absolutely love it. And that is the Blackfoot by Big Sky in the Toro, or I think it only comes in the Toro.
Yeah.
And it's a medium to full, but it is fantastic.
Yes. I mean, that cigar, I feel like instantly has a following once it has been smoked. And I think far too many people overlook it and they underestimate the cigar, and really shouldn't. I mean, it is a great cigar. So the next one on my list is going to be The Last Cast by Lure Cigars.
It's a great cigar.
That's awesome.
It's a full-bodied cigar. It's a cigar that was really made in the honor of Lou's father, who owns the brand Lure. The cigar releases annually, and it really honors the memory of his father perfectly. It's an homage to him. And so it's an honor for us at Stories to carry it. It's an honor that Lou shares it with us and doesn't just keep it within his family, which is why it was originally blended.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So
go ahead.
No, I was going to say you're up next.
Yep. So my next one is one that I have smoked several of their cigars, but this one just in the last year for the first time, and that's Left Hand Blurred Lines. It's a medium to full cigar by Ohana Noir, and it is a great cigar. And again, one that I think just isn't talked about enough.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I had to like that cigar. I mean, I liked it no matter what, but I'm also left-handed. So, Left Hand Blurred Lines, that was like a double spoke to me because I'm left-handed. But you're right. I don't think that people bring it up enough. I don't think people smoke it enough, try it enough. So the next one for me, and I love this cigar. I smoked when we first opened Stories. I just smoked it on repeat. And that is the Red Anchor, distributed by United Cigars, especially in the Gunner Vitola. That one is absolutely my favorite Vitola of that cigar.
Absolutely. And it's a medium to full, and depending on which size, the strength, that Gunner is perfect. Every single person we have introduced to Red Anchor absolutely loves it. It is a fantastic cigar, and it's honestly in my top 5 cigars.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking through what is my top 5 list, this Red Anchor makes that list every time.
Yep.
So my next one is the Don Pepin Garcia Cuban Classic Black Toro. It's sometimes referred to as the Don Pepin Garcia 1950. It is a full-bodied cigar. It is amazing. Every time we bring box of those into the humidor here at Stories, it sells well. People talk about it. It's much like we talked about earlier. They kind of forget about it, and when they smoke it again, they're like, this is a fantastic cigar.
Yeah, I think it has that classic strength. I think it has the classic punch. And like you're saying, I think it's a little bit more underrated because it's not necessarily new.
Absolutely. It's been around a long time.
Yeah.
And so it's forgotten, right?
Yep.
In many humidors, I just don't see it when we travel, but it really should be there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we bring cigars into our shop from time to time and, bring this cigar in, and like I said, when we do, people love it.
Yeah. They love
every
it.
time. But then they move on and we have stragglers, 2 or 3 of them left. Well, eventually I'll end up buying them and smoking them. And then a month or 2 later, we'll pick them up again. It's like a new cigar.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I love that. I do love that about cigars is you can go, sometimes it can be years in between when you have something that you love that maybe you forgot about. And then it's almost just like you're rediscovering how much you loved it.
Yeah, and people have asked us the last 2 times we brought it in, people go, hey, is that a new cigar?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they just love it, right?
Yep. So I would say that is our list. That is the conglomerate of our episode. We've kind of talked about how the rating process works, the big top lists of 2024, why the sleepers get slept on, and our top 20 list. Are we going to say for 2025 we'll have a new one?
Yeah, absolutely.
A new one next year.
We'll have a new one next year. And, if we do it this time next year, we may post and maybe do this episode next week so we can actually have the top 26 list.
Yeah.
Because that's crazy scary that this time next year, we're going to be talking about all the cigars we smoked in 2026.
Yep.
But here's our homework for you rebels. We would encourage you to pick one cigar from each round, the mild, the medium, and the full body, and tell us what you think. That's 3 cigars. It's a nice weekend.
Right. Yep. And you send us your underrated pick and the one that you hand to a friend and you say, trust me. Because I think everyone who smokes cigars, they have that one. If they've been smoking for a long enough time, they're like, this is it. This is the one that gets slept on that I love. And also, if you want to, you can drop it in the comments here on YouTube after the show or any of our social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, and at Cigar Rebel. And I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah, we would love that. So, Mel, before we go, what's your final thoughts on the San Latino Requiem Maduro by AJ Fernandez?
I mean, I think it's been a while since I've had one of these. I say a while, a couple months probably.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it all over again. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. At this point, it's rich,
Mm-hmm.
it's creamy, it's stronger than I remembered, but it's not overpowering. You still pick up at this point in this final third, I get a little bit of a chocolatiness,
Mm-hmm.
the coffee, that black pepper is still there.
Yeah.
My lips are tingling a little bit. The inside of my mouth has that feel from the pepperiness. It's fantastic. It's kind of cold tonight here in Texas. I know y'all been talking throughout the chat. We're not in y'all's level cold, but it's been 20. It's probably in the 30s right now. We're inside and warm, but by the window, I can feel a little bit of the breeze.
Yeah.
This cigar pairs perfectly with the weather.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a great solid choice. And I love that we smoked it today. So thank you guys for joining us today and for bearing with us through the technical difficulties at the front of the episode. If you liked this episode, then, give us a review on Facebook or Instagram and share with your cigar friends. You guys are great I've been overwhelmed over, especially the last couple of months. I think I mentioned it last week. We're seeing a lot of growth, and it's because of you guys sharing us and
absolutely
telling people to join us and join the conversation. If you haven't subscribed, like Kevin had mentioned earlier, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our Cigar Rebel content.
Yep. So, and if you haven't seen any of the past episodes, they're readily available on YouTube or Facebook. We'd love for you to go out there and watch them. If you're watching this on a replay, go ahead and tag us at #ReplayFam. and let us know. We absolutely love hanging out with you guys on Monday night. I think Leslie just made a comment toward that. Always a fun time with special friends on Monday night. Tonight was a little bit of a rough episode with the technical difficulties. And I don't know if you've ever done public speaking or a podcast like this, but once you start off wrong, it's hard to get in the rhythm. So thank you for bearing with us tonight. Next week, we have a great episode for you Rebels. Join us next Monday night for our live Christmas episode. But for tonight, that's our show.
Yes. So until next week, keep your cigar lit, your ash long, and your palate curious.
Absolutely. You guys have a great night.